The power of silence. Why the smartest people speak less. Imagine this. You're in the middle of a heated debate. Your heart is racing. Every second feels like a battle. You're carefully crafting your next response, ready to prove your point, to win. But the other person? They're doing the exact same thing. No one is listening, just waiting to strike back. And then a voice whispers in your mind, "You've already lost." Not because you're wrong, not because the other person is smarter, but because the moment you start fighting for control, you've already surrendered it. What if true power doesn't come from winning arguments? What if it comes from something much more unexpected? This is the hidden power of silence. And today we're going to break down exactly why the wisest, most influential people throughout history mastered the art of saying less, and how you can too. Why do we argue? Think back to the last time you got into an argument. Did you really want the truth, or did you just want to be right? Most people argue not because they're seeking knowledge, but because they're protecting something deeper, their ego. Being wrong feels like an attack on our identity, so we resist at all costs. Their status. Many arguments aren't about facts, but about dominance. Who gets the last word? Who looks stronger? Their tribe. Sometimes we defend an idea not because we truly believe it, but because we don't want to be the outsider. Silence disrupts all of this. When someone refuses to engage in the usual back and forth, it forces people to confront something uncomfortable. What if they don't need to prove anything? This is why the most powerful thinkers throughout history have mastered the ability to stay silent when it matters most. True power, control, not noise. Friedrich Nietzsche, one of the most controversial philosophers in history, had a radical idea. He believed that power was not about brute force, but about control. And the highest form of control? Self-mastery. The moment you react emotionally in an argument, you are no longer in control. The other person dictates your thoughts, your emotions, your energy. Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, or the overman, was not someone who wins arguments, but someone who rises above them. The Übermensch does not fight to be right. He fights to shape reality, and sometimes, shaping reality requires no words at all. The psychology of silence. Modern psychology confirms what Nietzsche understood over a century ago. The people who talk the most are not always the most powerful. Think about it. Who do we respect more in a conversation? The one who speaks impulsively, constantly trying to prove something, or the one who listens, observes, and speaks only when it truly matters? Silence creates tension, and tension creates control. In fact, studies show that in high-stakes negotiations, the person who speaks the least often has the most influence. Why? Silence makes people uncomfortable. They rush to fill the space, revealing their true thoughts, insecurities, and weaknesses. Silence forces people to listen. When you finally speak, your words carry weight. Silence shifts power. It signals confidence, intelligence, and mastery. The greatest leaders, thinkers, and warriors have all used this to their advantage. History's silent powerhouses. Let's look at 3 historical figures who mastered the power of silence. 1. Socrates, the master of questions. Socrates never won arguments by shouting people down. Instead, he asked simple questions that exposed the contradictions in their own logic. He let them realize their own mistakes without ever needing to prove them wrong. Lesson: instead of arguing, ask questions that make people challenge their own beliefs. 2. Steve Jobs, the art of persuasive silence. Steve Jobs didn't waste words. When his team debated over the first iPhone's design, he didn't try to argue them into his vision. He let them question themselves until they reached his conclusion on their own. Lesson: if your words don't lead to action, they're just noise. 3. Miyamoto Musashi, the silent warrior. One of the greatest samurai in history, Musashi understood that battles were won before the first strike. Before duels, he would make his opponents wait for hours, forcing them into a state of impatience and frustration. By the time the fight began, they were already at a disadvantage, because they had already lost control of their emotions. Lesson: sometimes silence is more devastating than any attack. Mastering the silent advantage. So how do you apply this in your own life? 1. Stop reacting, start observing. Every time you resist the urge to respond impulsively, you gain power over the situation. 2. Use silence strategically. Not every argument is worth your energy. Know when to engage and when to let others talk themselves into a corner. 3. Speak only when it serves your purpose. If what you say doesn't shift the conversation in your favor, wait. Because true power is not in words, it's in the silence before them. The final thought. Imagine waking up tomorrow and being told, you only have 100 words left to speak for the rest of your life. Would you waste them on petty arguments? Would you use them to defend your ego? Or would you choose each one carefully, like a warrior sharpening his final blade before battle? Nietzsche understood something most people ignore. Words are currency. The more you spend them carelessly, the less valuable they become. So the next time you find yourself in an argument, pause. Ask yourself, am I controlling the conversation, or is it controlling me? Do I need to speak, or is silence my greatest weapon? Because true power isn't in shouting the loudest, it's in knowing when to say nothing at all. Want more? If you found this video thought-provoking, hit the like button and drop a comment. Do you believe silence is power? Subscribe for more deep insights into philosophy, psychology, and the hidden forces that shape our lives. Because sometimes the loudest minds are the quietest ones.